Welcome, everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by Alderman at Large George Payne.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with thankful hearts, Lord. We're thankful for this time of the season, Lord, a time that is important to our country, Lord, and we just want you to know how thankful we are for all that you do for us, Lord. Lord, we pray that you'd bless the city of Southaven during this special time of year. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for the November 4, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Jerome, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes. That motion carries. Next on the agenda is an agreement with the DeSoto County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Mr. Nick Manley, City Attorney.
Mayor and Board, this is the agreement with the Visitors Bureau that will authorize them to continue to work and manage the amphitheater for the concert season. It was only for a one-year agreement. The agreement's for $100,000, which will be divided into 12 equal payments. They'll have to book eight shows, including, in addition to the Fall Fest and Spring Fest. They'll produce it, do the security, do the promotions, and productions of the concerts, along with the booking after checking on schedules with the mayor and Wes. So tonight, just authorization for the mayor to sign the contract for a one-year extension. It is pretty much the same contract with a couple of small revisions from the previous contract that we had with the Visitors Bureau. They have approved the contract, so tonight it's on the agenda to be recommended for approval, and once it's approved, we'll get back with them to start with the seasons for 2026.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion?
Nick, what are you said there's revisions, what are the changes?
Just for 1 year. I think also that once we get this finalized, they'll be doing more concessions as opposed to a third party doing that. There is nothing that in the past, I think we ran through the executive director, and since we're not doing it that way now, CBB will be handling through their, I guess it would be more of their concert promotions arm as opposed to the director. And then that was it. And still termination provisions in there as well.
And nothing from an operational standpoint, like Nick said, it's an extension. It's really nothing significant that's changed in there. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a Police Department forfeiture MOU.
This is just one to have on our minutes for those cases when the police department does work with another entity or agency for a forfeiture or forfeiture proceeding, and we work with another agency as part of the forfeiture under 4129-181 NISP code. 80% of that would go to the city and 20% would go to the entity, but we just wanted to have that MOU form and have on our minutes for a form to use by the police department when we have the asset sharing for the forfeitures in the future, which we do work on with other agencies. So tonight, just authorization to approve the form and have it on our minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion?
This isn't equitable sharing, this is forfeiture, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a fire department agreement and addendum with Renew Biomedical Services.
Yeah, this contract or addendum, we have a contract and an addendum. The addendum will basically supplement the contract by making the actual contract have the provisions from Mississippi law. So they'll both be approved and signed, but the agreement is just for a 1-year preventive maintenance service agreement with preventive maintenance service for the cardiac monitors. It's the same agreement we've used in the past along with the addendum. So tonight, need authorization for Chief Skaggs to sign this addendum and contract as presented for the 1-year renewal with Renew Biomedical Services.
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is acceptance of the lowest bid for our park scoreboards.
Yeah, the City Parks Department received bids via reverse auction for the scoreboards at Snowden. The lowest bid was Daktronics in the amount of $144,186, which was below budget. So tonight need authorization to accept the low bid and authorize any and all documents to be signed for the low bid.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Or is it? Okay. And so, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval for the parks to seek additional bids.
And this is just seeking bids for the split rail fence at Snowden. Need authorization to go to bid, and once those are received, they'll come back for acceptance for the lowest and best by the board.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is an agreement with DeSoto County for a polling place.
This agreement will authorize the county to use the Bank Plus Parks and Recreation Building for their elections. I think currently that's at the Central High School. So it'll make it, that area will then be consistent with city elections and state and federal and county elections in that one building for those that are within that district or polling place. So tonight need authorization for the mayor to sign the contract for use of the Bank Plus Parks Recreation Building for a polling place by the county for the elections it administers.
I'll make that motion, but I have a question.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Hoots, and Alderman
Question.
Flores has discussion.
My question is, you said city elections. Well, don't they currently use that polling place already for Ward 5?
For Ward
Yeah,
five.
the city already uses it, so,
But it won't be for, because you said DeSoto Central. DeSoto Central has city elections there too for Ward 6. That does not pertain to that.
correct, this just
All right.
contains the county. This is not changing any of the city polling places, just the
Okay.
county polling place.
And just for everyone that's listening or watching or whatever, we have tried, Andrea Mullen, our city clerk, along with our election commissioner, we have tried to bring consistency to the voting polls. Y'all know that the number one complaint you hear is, I don't know where to vote.
Right.
And so let me just tell everybody that's listening, they have a valid complaint. I mean, if you don't, I mean, we forget sometimes that we're involved in this, so we always know where to vote and what's going on. But if you're the average person out there working in a different career and you're, stretching your day trying to get to where you vote, I mean, we don't need to make it any harder than it already is.
Right.
And so it can't be, it's not a perfect science because the districts are not the same. Like a ward in the city of Southaven is not the same as a state senator's district, so it's not always possible. And then there's other, requirements that have to be met as far as the number of voters and at that specific location. So it's not a perfect science, but I just challenge everybody to do what we've done. That's why we're doing this. Let's try to make it as consistent as we can. If we have a voting location that fits multiple elections, let's try to simplify it for the voters. And so again, instead of chastising, y'all see it, everybody chastises DeSoto County for not voting, but let's help. Let's do our part and make it easier for people to know where they do vote. And I commend Melita Duncan and Michael Norris in our IT department, we've done a really good job. I asked them to do our part to simplify it. So at every election, they're putting a link on the public post, whether it be on the website or social media, where all a citizen has to do is click on the link, and you can put your name in, and it tells you where you vote. It tells you what, who the candidates are, what kind of election it is, and where you go vote. So I appreciate my team for doing our part, but I challenge everybody else to do the same thing. Rather than blaming people for not voting, let's simplify this and make it easier for people to vote. So,
And I would add that we may think about moving Ward 6's city election to Cornerstone if they're willing to do that, because that's where a lot of Ward 6 votes for county and federal elections as well.
so that would be a common one for
That'd be a
6,
common
what you're
goal,
saying.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But still, it wouldn't hit everybody. I mean,
No,
you
it
have
wouldn't,
some
but,
people, yeah.
but then you would either go to Bank Plus or you would go to Cornerstone. And, because right now, the only election left that's gonna be held at DeSoto Central is the city election, which is gonna throw everything off. So we wanna do, like what the mayor said, we wanna have common voting, polling places.
You're saying not in place of the Snowden location, but in place of like the school?
The school, that's
Yeah.
correct, because, the Bank Plus is gonna be used for Ward 5. Ward 6 still gets elected, that polling place is still DeSoto Central.
Yeah.
But a lot of Ward 6 goes to Cornerstone for the county and federal elections and state elections.
So it's already been a common
It's already,
place.
that's correct.
Andrew, will you make notes of that? So when we have, we're gonna have some other discussions about this, and that way, we can bring that up. So thank you for that. Any other discussion about?
I
this?
did want to echo what you said. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Andrea and the IT department, because I know I've texted that link out to several people throughout the day asking me, where do I vote? I don't know where you vote. I'll send you this link. You'll look it up.
Yeah,
And so that was very, very helpful.
good. Glad to hear that. Okay, any other discussion about this? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoop.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes,
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is a resolution for sanitation liens.
Yeah, this resolution just authorizes liens and or assessments for those who haven't paid the sanitation monthly fee.
so moved.
Seconds.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Is there anyone that owns property that could have a lien in the audience who would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoop.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes,
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the bid award and contract for utilities chemicals.
City recently went to bid for chemicals for the utility department, and the low and best bid was Ideal Chemical, who currently has won the bid every year the last couple of years. So tonight, we need authorization to award the bid to Ideal Chemical and for the contract to be signed by Utility Director Ray Humphrey.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoop.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
yes,
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is a resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, move we adopt a resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion among the board? Is there anyone in the audience who has a financial interest in any of the properties who would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoop.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application, we have a rezoning of 7.78 acres on the southwest corner of Church Road and Sweeney Road. Request is to go from R30 to C1. Nick, I believe I have to go into a public hearing for this.
So we need a motion to go to public hearing?
Yes. Is there a
So
motion
moved.
to go open a public hearing?
Second.
Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries. Public hearing open for discussion.
So basically, like I said, the request is for the 7.78 acres that you see highlighted there in orange on the southwest corner of Church Road and Sweeney Road to go currently from R30, which is low-density residential, to C1, neighborhood commercial. Obviously, when this was zoned years and years and years ago, the character of the neighborhood was a two-lane road down Church Road, had not been widened. Sweeney Road was definitely not a thoroughfare that went all the way down through the county. So times have changed. There is now a traffic signal there. You also have commercial on the southeast corner, which is where Ryan England State Farm Building is. So definitely the character of the neighborhood has changed, which makes it not conducive to low-density residential. If you go down Goodman Road to Country Oaks and areas of that, in that area, you'll see driveways hitting Goodman Road. It's not ideal when you have a 5-lane major urban arterial road, which is what this street is now designated as through our comprehensive plan. We've also looked at the comprehensive plan designation on this, and this area is in the future land use plan designated for service neighborhood commercial, which is what the request is for. And we also looked at the positive and negative impacts, and I can tell you over the years, we have had several entities come in trying to purchase this hard corner for much harder commercial uses. Some of the things you think about that want corners. Obviously, we have tried to deter them, and so the rezoning here to C1 is extremely restrictive. It carries a commercial setting, but it's more of a residential office style. It's for service to close proximity, not regional commercial. So looking at all of the different criteria to rezone it, staff did believe that it warranted the rezoning and presented that to the Planning Commission, who voted unanimously in favor of it to rezone it from R30 to C1.
Joel?
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Whitney, what are the major differences between residential to neighborhood commercial?
You mean C1 to like to
Correct.
residential office versus C1 commercial?
Well, I mean, the motion is for, it's residential R30 now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're wanting to go to neighborhood commercial. What does neighborhood commercial mean?
Neighborhood commercial is the most restrictive commercial uses, allowances that we have. It requires small footprints, so it can't be a large big box. It can't be like a gas station or a car wash. Those are considered heavier commercial uses, service-oriented commercial uses. That is not allowed in the C1. So it's the most restrictive commercial we have, and it teeters on the edge of, like I said, residential office. R30, like I said, is 30,000 square foot plus size residential lots.
Okay.
So there's a big difference in the rezoning, but this is the most restrictive, and it warrants some commercial response because it is on the corner of a traffic signal of a major intersection. So we just felt that it was the most protective for the area, though.
Okay.
Any other discussion among the board? Anyone in the audience like to speak? Okay, I'm asking for a motion to approve item 1. Or let's close the public hearing first, so would y'all help me with that motion? Alderman Hoots, Alderman
Second.
Lewis, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it. Hearing is closed. Is there a motion to approve item 1? Alderman Gallagher, you started.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Flores. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Okay, so on the same exact site, we have a subdivision request, and that is to subdivide that property that we were just discussing, the 7.78 acres, into 4 lots. They would range in size from 1.59 acres to 2.27 acres. I can tell you, we've already approved the site plan. Design review will come in front of you, but Lot 1, which is the main hard corner, is set to be an oral surgery center. So the person that is subdividing this and that has purchased this would like it to be a medical complex of small entities and specialists. However, he is taking Lot 1, which is, like I said, the hard corner. We did look at the proposed ingress egresses that they had. We have removed one off of the subdivision application that they have proposed and allowed it just to be an L shape to gain access to all 4 of the lots. I also indicated in the report that there may be some improvements that needed to be done. I felt that Church Road is widened, it's improved, it's not necessary, but I did feel like because of the 4 lots and because of the patient intake, that there may be some necessity on Sweeney Road. I have since talked to Civil Link, and they believe that to be true as well, so we think there may be a decel lane added there that will be at the cost of the developer. We've made that known to them, so with those comments, it was recommended for approval. It does comply with the code of ordinances set forth for the commercial subdivisions, and the Planning Commission did vote unanimously in favor of it.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve item number 2 on the planning agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, and I think Alderman Lewis made the second on that. Is there any other is there a discussion on item 2?
Where are they gonna take the extra road? Is it gonna come off the property right there?
So they will be a private drive on the interior. They're gonna take it all the way far west to the end of Lot 2, and they'll take it all the way south at the end of Lot 4 to push it away from the interchange, and they'll L-shape it around to get access to all 4, but pull it away from the intersection. But it'll be a private road.
So it'll be a private road? So that it will have no ingress egress on the Sweeney, or will it?
No, you will have the one. It'll be a main road thoroughfare there, and you will have one access on Church Road. They did request additional ones, but we removed those.
Are they gonna pull some of that, what they're gonna need for the road off the lot? Or is it gonna
Yeah,
come
they'll
off?
pull it out of the right of way. Yeah.
Any other discussion on item 2? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Okay, so our final application is a request for a conditional use permit to be allowed for a tire shop to be located at 1175 Main Street. This is going to be on the south side of State Line Road / Main Street and west of Mill Branch. You'll see highlighted there in orange right there, it is an existing vacant retail old pharmacy shop, I believe is what it was. It does sit kind of in an island of parking lot. There's no greenery around it. As we're all familiar with, there's some certain criteria that has to be met when you look at the request there. So under traffic hazard and congestion, we don't believe that the applicant's request would substantially increase the traffic hazards or congestion in the area. From a fire hazard standpoint, as with all, conversion of the building from a retail storefront to a motor vehicle repair, it would follow under the guidelines of fire code. But there was some concern about on-site liquid storage that could increase the potential for fire hazard at the site. In terms of neighborhood characteristics, we do acknowledge that the applicant could reasonably argue that the proposed site is consistent with the character of the surrounding area. There are several motor vehicle repair shops located nearby. General welfare of the city, although the proposed business would be locally owned, service-oriented, staff does have concerns, again, about approving another motor vehicle repair shop. Given the existing concentration of similar businesses within a 1-mile radius, we actually have one directly across the street next to Dale's. Again, when we recommend approval, we got to ensure that the area is not oversaturated with a particular use that may negatively impact the existing uses. And you have to reference back to the comprehensive plan, which we just hammered home pretty heavily with the gas station that came through, that we wanted to kind of move away from the auto-oriented service industry for our commercial uses in our revitalization area. That's the West End District. So we feel that adding yet another tire shop would go against what our comprehensive plan said for this area. We do not believe that they would overburden the public utilities or community facilities. And again, it is a vacant piece of property, and I believe everybody has the attachments that the gentleman provided to us. Very nice gentleman, and he had some great ideas. It's an improvement to the building. The building needs some TLC. I think we can all agree with that. But in the end, that's not the only thing we could look at. It was heavily discussed at the Planning Commission. One of the concerns was putting overhead doors along the frontage. He did find a way to adjust that. But in terms of aesthetics, one of the things that they were concerned about was where to place the fence and how that storage would do, how would we do the storage when it was sitting in the middle of a parking lot. He indicated that he did have used tires and new tires on site, so that was a concern as well. They just felt that, adding yet another one in this area and going against the comprehensive plan and the future land use intentions for the West End District was not being met by the applicant. He did plead his case, and like I said, it was discussed heavily, but in the end, recommendation by staff was to deny based on the criteria set forth in the conditional use permit application, and the Planning Commission did agree with that and voted unanimously in favor of denial. So it's presented here tonight for final confirmation or discussion.
We need,
Yes, sir.
Did I hear somewhere that they specialize in selling used tires or one tire at a
He
time or
indicated
something?
that he sells both. Both are part of his business. That is all he does, but he sells new and used tires that would all be stored on site.
Isn't this next to a Sonic?
It is, and that is one of the concerns I had, that the only way that without looking at the site, the back of the site, for whatever reason, sits higher than the front of the site. So additionally, you know, we looked at him possibly, if he was gonna go there, we were trying to get the doors to the back to see if he could design it that way. It didn't work out. The only area he could actually place the door was on the side which would face Sonic, which we did not find ideal, just from a positive impact from the people at the eatery, so.
Yeah, so he's gonna change tires outside the building.
He would be with every motor vehicle repair. Their intentions are to go to the inside, but for whatever reason, it always trickles to the outside at some point in time. So, but I think one of the main things was not necessarily where the work would be done, but where the storage would happen. And again, you can see when you put a fence up on a new site, you have greenery to access where you place your main post, and then you wrap the building with the medians, and then with the fence around that. It is solid asphalt. So the intention of just driving the bracing pieces of the fence and the asphalt, that's not ideal. I don't think anybody liked that idea. There's just a lot of work that needed to be done there, and we gave that to him and suggested that, you know, he may possibly want to look elsewhere, that this was just too hard of a site to convert to that.
Well, I'll make a motion to deny.
I am not sure if he's here or not in the audience. I don't know if he has spoken to me at length. I believe he's spoken to Alderman Lewis as well, so.
Just for record, I did go out and meet with the gentleman, talk with him, toured the facility, and saw and heard all of his plans, and I'm just in agreement with our planning commission that it's just not what we're trying to do with the west side.
I agree with that 100%.
I agree with you 100%. If we want to redevelop, and we do, and we've been working very hard for a lot of years trying to redevelop our original business district, and if you, like the old saying goes, if you want a different result, you got to do something different. So if we want to continue putting the same old thing here, nothing is going to change in the West End. So again, from what Whitney said, and we're going to ask him to speak if he's here, but we always welcome a quality business in the city, but there is a proper place for everything, and this is just simply not the place for that. So is a gentleman in the audience or owners, is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak about item 3? Do you recognize? No one's here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll just continue the discussion, then we have a motion, but is it a motion to deny, but while we got the floor open, is there any other discussion on 3?
I agree.
Okay, Alderman Hoots made a motion to deny item 3. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We've got a second by Alderman Lewis. Any other final discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
I vote yes to deny.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That's it.
And that motion carries. Okay, next on our agenda is our mayor's report. So we're going to start off tonight, an issue that has been discussed quite frequently, and we need to bring it up for discussion one more time. So I'm asking for a motion to allow a discussion about medical cannabis. So would someone make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
You got Alderman Jerome, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Lewis. So discussion is open. So just to kind of recap where we left it off a few years ago, a lot of things have changed. This has been one of the most, what's the word? Just strange things. The law was strange. Like anything medical, you go to Walgreens, or you go to a drugstore, and this, you can't get this at a drugstore. So by its nature, I don't know who gets credit for making this different and unique, but this is not your normal medicine, okay? It's treated differently in every way. The state law treats it differently. So that's what has complicated this matter for the cities. The other thing is when the law was passed, it didn't really change anything. It just put the authority or I hate to use the word burden, but in some cases, back on the cities. So the law allowed cities to opt out and then to opt in. And so it's up to the city. So the city of Southaven is not opted in to any form of medical cannabis. The forms are cultivation, research and testing, and dispensaries. Is that covered all in there?
For the most part.
For the most part. And so you can opt in on one or all, or not opt in. And so let me just start this, and I know we're going to have a healthy discussion. But so since the law was passed, we also, on the advice of our planning director and others, we believed that it was a safe thing to do for Southaven to create a medical zone. So we pretty much left that discussion that if we did opt in, it would be in a medical zone. And we did create that. We put a lot of work into this. We have hashed this out and researched this for a long time. Since then, and again, I'm gonna be a little different tonight than I have been in other discussions, because just for the fact that we talked about this so much. There is so much that we've hashed in and hashed out. But I do owe it to everyone in the discussion to let people know that there have been some negatives with this that the state didn't tell us about, just locally that we've learned. And so what we all know and what we've seen in other states is this has been abused. I mean, it's just a fact. It's been abused. We found that our planning department has received a barrage of the slang term or the street term is weed doctors, weed nurses, okay? And what that means is we got so many applications for people after we had discussion about cannabis that all of a sudden everybody wants to come here, because Southaven has the greatest consumer traffic flow. And we have, if you're going to be in DeSoto County, you got the consumer traffic flow. So they all, barrage us. I've talked to legislators. I've talked to so many people around the state about medical cannabis. But what has happened is these weed nurses all of a sudden came in, and the reason that they all of a sudden did, and their purpose is simply to write scripts for medical marijuana. I mean, that's what their purpose is. So when you're the mayor of a city or you're the planning director, that throws up a big red flag. It's like, why all of a sudden are you here? And it just screams that this is going to be abused, and we know that it is. And so those have been my concerns, and that has happened since our last discussion. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. I know people have strong feelings about this, and I will say this, and I've talked to people that I know who don't agree with me, and we're still friends, but we don't agree on this issue. And but I will say this until my dying day, because I know this is right. Marijuana, recreational marijuana, is a gateway drug for some people. It's not for everybody. It doesn't mean that people have used marijuana that it is, but for a lot of people, it is a gateway drug. And so the other thing that I know to be a fact, that I believe somebody will watch this video and I will prove to be correct, is that investors in medical cannabis, this has not been as lucrative as what many thought a few years ago when the law passed. So there's a lot of people that have kind of gone a different direction with this. And so, but I think what drives it for not just Mississippi, but overall in the United States, is the hope that one day recreational marijuana will become legal, and that they already have a marketing avenue in place. And I believe that is correct. And like I said, I think that will prove to be correct. And so there is a big difference in if somebody is truly using cannabis for health issues. I support that. Like I've always said, if there is something on this planet, I believe God put things on this planet to benefit mankind. And if there's something that can ease the pain of another human being without them getting addicted to opioids, I support that, and I still do. But the reason I'm telling you this tonight is it is fair for everybody to know that there are some negatives that come with this. This is not just a grand thing that, hey, it's new medicine, it's all hunky-dory, everything's good. That's not. There is an end game to this that is a negative for Southaven, and I worry about that for our kids and for other people that face that risk. The other thing is it is a fact now that marijuana, not medical marijuana, marijuana in general that's used recreationally is extremely more potent than it was when somebody my age that choose to use marijuana recreationally, 35 years ago, what is out there now is tremendously more dangerous. There's things mixed with it. It's a lot of synthetic mix with it. And so it's a totally different danger for our youth than it was at some time. So, but again, that's all I'm going to say is there's negatives that come with it. I do agree, again, like I said, if people can get medicine, I think they should be able to get it. In DeSoto County now, it's out there. I mean, you can get, if you have something, you can get this. And so, do we want to bring it in Southaven at this time? I mean, that's just something to think about. What does it do for Southaven? We know it has medicinal purposes, and that need is already being met. So what does it do? Why does this benefit Southaven for us to opt in at this point? And I'll leave it at that and let y'all, everybody discuss it.
I want to know the answer of how does it benefit Southaven long term? Because once we opt in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, we're in. We can't get out.
That's correct.
And so if all the negative effects happen, then we're stuck with them. Correct?
The way I understand the law is once you had the chance to not opt in, but once you opt in to whatever it is, whether it be cultivation, research and testing, or dispensaries, whatever when you opt in, you're in. I mean,
So what about, do we opt out if we choose never to do this? Or if this board chooses to opt out, can another board opt in after this board is gone? Okay, but once we opt in, we're binding any future boards to we're in.
Yeah, you had a 90-day period, if memory serves me correctly, when it was passed, 22 or 20 correctly, I forget exactly year when it was passed, but there's a 90-day period to either to opt out. After that, if you didn't opt out, you were in. I think this board opted out in April or May of 2023.
2022, I think.
22, back into the year, and but then you could always opt back in, but you couldn't opt back out.
Well, and the mayor's comment about, yeah, this is, some people use it as a gateway to other drugs, but I tell you what it is a gateway to. It's a gateway to you're one step away from the state legislature approving recreational marijuana. Because that's exactly what happened in Colorado. And anybody who goes to Colorado now will tell you that place is terrible. And like you said, the need has been met. There are 9 dispensaries in this county right now. 9, 5 in Olive Branch, 2 in Horn Lake, and 2 in Hernando. If somebody needs it, you can go 5 miles down the road and get it. And I just don't think that we, this as a city, that we need to bring in something that other municipalities that are already offered, and speaking to some of those aldermen have said it's not worth the hassle. They have issues at restaurants with the smell. There's been no benefit from them on a sales tax bump because all the money that was supposed to be made isn't being made at all. And it's a burden on the PD.
well, it is, and that's why I say that it's proven that it is going to be abused. And I think I've told some other people on our team about this, but I was in another state back in the summer and happened to be running one morning, and it just caught my eye. I looked to my right, and it's like, you see these used car dealerships that say, no credit, no problem, bad credit, no problem. And it has a sign like that, neon sign that said, no script, no problem. And so that's just what's going on, whether anybody wants to admit that or not. So if you want medical marijuana, you can get it.
In this county, absolutely.
Right. So I'm just saying it's like to Alderman Flores' point, it's a slow play plan. You legalize medical cannabis, and it's one step down the road to legalizing recreational.
Well, if you opt in, I guarantee you that recreational marijuana is going to be sold from there as well. Because right now the state is not regular. The state is not testing it. They're not testing it. You know who's testing it? I'll tell you who's testing it. The dispensaries are testing it. They're hiring a third-party source to test it. Now, if the law enforcement comes in, they can send it to the state to test it. And you know what? You know who's going to foot the bill? The taxpayers of that municipality. Not only that, but I know that George, the mayor, Joel, myself, have been here for 12 years, and some of you all too have busted your tails to make this the top of Mississippi. And I think it looks good that we stand out as not being the one in DeSoto County who has opted in. And I'm just telling you, there's 81 cities in the state that have not opted in.
Well, and that's why I asked the question. I know we have other board members that are certainly going to want to speak on this issue, but everything, and I think I can speak for y'all, the ones, really all of us, really, but I've been with some my whole time as mayor. But I can tell you from my standpoint that I have always, everything that I've advocated for, or any decision that I've had to make in the day-to-day activities of the city, my ultimate question is this best for the city? For the whole, is this best? What is best? And my department heads will tell you, been in countless meetings, ultimately, is this good for the city of Southaven? Is this good for a certain group of people? And I've been criticized, I've been threatened, because there are things that I was against because it benefited some people, and they were strong because it benefited them. But overall, it was not good for the city of Southaven. So everything I've done in the face of criticism and everything else, I've always asked myself, is this good for Southaven as a whole? And is this good for Southaven? And so I'll leave it at that.
Well, short
Other
term and long
discussion.
term. Is it good short term and long term? And we're talking about the entire future of the city, not just 5 years from now, not when we're no longer in office, forever. Because unless the state changes their mind. And then we're at the mercy of the state. And
Well, that's gonna, if the state legalizes, like you said, recreational, we won't have a choice at all. It'll be here.
well, no.
But you got a choice right now.
You got a choice right now. You got a choice right now. And if we have a choice right now, the state is not going to say, the state will probably do the same thing they're doing now. Is the city going to opt in to sell recreational marijuana or not? And if we stay opted out or we don't opt in, then that's a no-brainer. Now, if another future board wants to come along, well, that's on them. But like I said, we've worked very hard to make this the top of Mississippi. This is where people want to come. This is where people want to come to the restaurants. And I've heard from other aldermen saying their restaurants smell like dope, especially in Obey, where you have 5 dispensaries. And the need really isn't there either. There's been 11 shops open. One was raided by the SO and they're closed. The other one shut down because their demand wasn't there. They didn't make it business-wise. And there's rumors that 2 others are going to shut down. So this, like the mayor said, this grander vision that there was going to be so many opening up because it was going to be such a great profit sharing and the city was going to make a lot of that's all crap. That's bull crap. That's never happened at all. And not only that, every law enforcement agency will tell you it's hard to regulate because the regulations change all the time. As a matter of fact, Chief Curran, would you want to speak up on this? Because I'd love to have your input, please. How is this going to affect PD operations?
I think it's just going to put us in the mud. I mean, it's going to slow us down ultimately. Look, I'm by no measure, I'm not a pharmacist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a legislator, but I know it makes the city not look good. And like the mayor said, I don't want to see businesses here with a neon green light with a pot leaf. I don't think anybody else here does either, but it is going to slow down our operations. And as far as testing goes, that's on us. So we're going to be going around and we do a traffic stop on a vehicle. You smell marijuana. Well, that's PC, it's probable cause for us to further our investigation. Well, now we're going to have to go through the process of going and checking scripts nonstop, having to go through. I mean, once again, the police department's going to have to become an expert in another field. This happens every time the legislature, somebody passes a bill that hasn't been thoroughly thought out. As Mayor Flores, or Alderman Flores said, we are going to have businesses that are going to smell like dope. I mean, is that what we want our kids going to? I mean, then that's what we're going to have. I mean, there's no way around it. And in my opinion, again, I'm not a doctor. If this is such a wonder drug and it's for medicinal purposes, why is it not a pressed pill? Why is it not a gel capsule with THC? Why is it smoking? I haven't seen the Surgeon General come out and say that it's a wise decision for medicinal purposes to smoke marijuana. I mean,
Matter of fact, I think the Surgeon General has said for the last 75 years that smoking is dangerous to your health. But hey, whatever.
Well, obviously, there's other forms besides smoking it, for medical purposes also. But that's, to your point, that's why I state that. And I've been asking that question since the state started considering this law. Was it 3 years? How many years ago was it?
3 years,
3 years
2022.
ago. If it's medicine, why can't you get it at Walgreens?
Exactly. Why am I not going to my primary care physician and they're giving me a prescription for a 90-day, 30-day supply, and I'm going to Walgreens, I'm going to Louis, I'm going to a local pharmacy to get it. Because that's not what it's being used for.
Yeah.
Look, once again, I'm no expert at this, but I agree, it's being used the foundation and the framework and the cornerstone is being set for a legalized market to sell it. I don't think that, anyone could look at that and say that that's not what's gonna happen.
I've got a question, and just to play devil's advocate, either way. What's the difference versus what we're doing now? I mean, it's not like it's not in Southaven. It's not like it's not in our schools every single day. It's not like you can't walk into any restaurant in the Southaven as you walk in the door and smell a whiff of it.
That doesn't mean it's illegal, though.
Well,
No, it doesn't mean it's, and I guarantee you, 99% of it is not legal at all.
Well, I
The
won't
stuff
get it.
being bought at dispensaries is not what's being smoked in the parking lot of Walmart and in the schools and the THC vapes that the kids have every day. I mean, we're battling that every day, regardless if we have a dispensary in Southaven or not. So you're pulling over people every single night, and you're smelling marijuana in cars every single night, and you're having to do these tests every single night. We're not in.
correct.
Southaven's not
But
in.
The police department doesn't write the laws, we enforce them.
Right, exactly.
So I don't see a reason why we need to be making more of a problem here for it to be a medical person, someone to sit there and say, so we can't control the THC vapes, right? They can order them online. As a matter of fact, our vice unit just took down where there's a lot of THC cartridges vapes. We can't control that. We can only do what we can do. But pitting another burden out there where you're eliminating tools for going in for law enforcement, because for these scripts, as the mayor said, no script, no problem. Do we really think that these scripts are going to be what's getting the marijuana?
No, not at all. My next question
So what's
to
the
you, though,
benefit of the store?
what's the protocol as far as you pull over someone and you smell marijuana, and which causes you to do a search? How many people pull out, oh, well, I have a card. I have a prescription card. Is that something that you deal with every day? Or
I mean, we deal with it. I mean, I can't give you an exact estimate to how often we come across that.
But does that, I mean, obviously, if you smell it in the car, they shouldn't be driving with it anyway, so that should be some sort of I would assume almost like a drinking and driving violation.
It is, you can get a DUI.
Right, a
for it.
DUI. But still, if they're trying to say if they have it on them and they show you the card that it's legal, I mean, do we let many people off because they have a card?
Again, I can't
You don't
speak
know?
as to that. I mean, I don't have this.
But if they're smoking it, even if that matter if they have a card or not, they it's just like you can't take some kind of opioid or something like that and drive a car if you can't function.
Correct.
It's the same.
You would be arrested for DUI.
Right, no matter what. So, I don't know.
So George, let me ask you a question. All right. Yes, they're dealing with it now because we have 9 dispensaries open in the county. Why do you want to give them another one when they can already go get it somewhere else?
My point I'm trying to make is we could have 0 dispensaries in the
You're
county.
going to make it easier,
And
though.
we are going to have that issue overrun. There are no dispensaries in the city of Memphis. You can't drive down.
So where do you think they're
You
getting
can't. I don't think they're not getting it from dispensaries in Mississippi. I can
The
tell you
ones
that
with the
right
card
now.
are.
I can tell you that right
Well,
now. That's not where they're getting it.
And if I can just add this, I don't think anybody's making the argument that if we opt in, we have marijuana. If we opt out, we don't have marijuana. There's been marijuana in Southaven before you were born. I mean,
Well before, yes.
And so that's not the issue. The issue is, do we want to do something that promotes this? And, that's the issue. And the other thing is, you can look and go do your own research. The states that have opted in to recreational marijuana, their non-alcohol DUIs are through the roof. I mean, and I know you've seen that. I've seen that in other publications. So these states that have legalized recreational marijuana, my point is this, and to Alderman Hoot's comment, your statistics are proven that when you legalize it, you're raising your DUIs.
Which means you're raising your city fees because now you got to put them in jail and you got to pay jail fees and they got to go to court. You're tying up the police department because you're taking somebody else down to the jail.
I'd like to see, you said you had, you got all this information you've gathered. I mean, I'd like to
You
see
can
it.
get your phone, you can pull it up right from your phone.
And that way we can, I mean, I know we're just discussing it tonight, it's just up for, discussion, but I'd like to see it. I mean, I get calls probably, 2 or 3 a month from people saying, hey, look, you know, my loved one needs this medication, they have to drive, you know, actually they end up going to Arkansas, I think, a lot of the times to get it because, you know, some of the places here, and they, you know, their thoughts are that if we did something in Southaven, it would be a higher standard. It wouldn't be a old gas station converted into a dispensary.
Or neon signs sticking out. Surely we can regulate that through the ordinance.
Maybe,
You can regulate signage.
You said, yeah.
maybe. But here's the other thing. If you're going to Arkansas, why are you going to Arkansas when we're selling it in DeSoto County?
I mean,
Because
it's
their
cheaper.
THC level's higher, that's why.
Well, they say it's cheaper.
Are they
And to
crossing state
finish,
lines at that
if you
point?
want those, that'd be an FBI crime statistics, wouldn't that?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It sounds like a drug deal going for a cheaper dealer.
That's exactly what.
But
it
yeah,
sounds like.
I'd love to see that kind of, I mean, you know, I'd like to be able to make an informed decision.
You don't need a president, like I said, you can find that on your phone. That is a fact. There have been countless discussions about that. Missouri, Colorado are just two of the ones where their non-alcohol DUIs are dramatically up because of.
I'm one of those guys, I'd like to see official stuff, because you know how the internet is, I mean, you know.
And call the ABC.
Well, the FBI, I think the
Call
FBI
Mississippi
crime report is
ABC.
pretty official. That's
Yeah.
where we, that's.
That's what I would do.
And again, and to go back to Alderman Flores, you know, so this stuff's supposed to be from the seed to the dirt,
In
grown near Mississippi,
In Mississippi.
and sold here in Mississippi to the dispensaries. It's not what happened down in Hernando. All that was coming from California. Who's going to regulate that? Who's checking that? Every time that we have to do a test, then when we start having crashes, wrecks with children, because it's going to be much more available and much more prevalent, because now you can get into your parents have a stash.
You said what, 9 we have? How is having one in Southaven going to increase that? Is it all of a sudden we're going to have more people with medical marijuana cards because Southaven has one when we already have 9 that they can
We
go?
have 9, but what you're gonna have is you're gonna have these weed nurses come in, and they're gonna wanna open shop here so they can give script cards.
Apparently, it's not that lucrative of a business.
So then why,
I mean, y'all
then why-
mentioned-
then why
y'all
are we
mentioned
talking
a
about it? If
But
it's
they're
not
already
lucrative,
here,
why are we
right?
talking about
Or
it?
the weed doctors
Right?
are.
Because Southaven should have
Absolutely.
one.
Why,
they are.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Why should Southaven have one?
Because the citizens of Southaven that need that,
Can't they not go 5 miles down the road and get it?
no, screw that.
Why
They,
is
they
that?
should be able to come right here in Southaven. They shouldn't have to leave to go to another city.
Why?
We have the chance to do it
Do
right.
we have an academy
To do it
sports
with
here?
class.
Do we have an academy sports here?
No,
Do we have a Bon Chibo restaurant here?
no,
Do we have a Walmart neighborhood market here?
no.
We gotta go to other municipalities to enjoy those amenities, don't we?
Yeah, but
Okay, so then they're.
that's only a matter of time before we
So
before we get a
how many
sport good
citizens are we
score.
really talking about? I mean, look, you know how many phone calls I've gotten since we discussed this in 2022? 0. Joel, how many phone calls have
I've
you gotten?
gotten one.
How many calls have you gotten, Mayor?
0.
How many calls have you gotten, George?
None.
How many calls have you gotten, Miss Lewis?
0.
0. Charlie, you said a couple, right? How many calls
You
have you
said
I've
gotten?
gotten a couple. But see, I live
So,
in a
okay,
different.
okay, we're talking about a couple. We're talking in maybe, let's round it up to 100 out of a city of more than 60,000. So we're gonna burden the city of 60,000 constituents over maybe 100 people who are already getting it in the county.
How is it going to burden the city?
Because you're gonna stick 60,000
It's the
constituents.
same people driving from Hernando that get pulled over if they get it here in Southaven.
But what I'm telling you is we're gonna pass an ordinance that says we're opting in, and all 60,000 residents will be affected when it's already here for 100 people at the most.
How is it going to affect 60,000 people?
Because that's the
Let's
population
think
of the
about the
city.
people that it's going to affect positively.
Okay, well, here, listen. Whitney, can you explain to me what happened with that one incident with the planning commission with the guy from Florida?
Basically, when we were discussing it originally, I had a gentleman who came in, he wasn't for or against it, but he showed up at our planning commission and asked if he could speak. We were talking about a hotel, and I believe it was one of the dispensaries that wanted to go in, and he said he just wanted to share something with us, that he was a hotelier, and that they had, in his city, just passed an ordinance similar to what we're talking about now, and he said, you understand that the second you make it medicinal, that it becomes recreational. He was the one that brought the weed nurse, quote-unquote weed nurses to me. He said they tend to follow cities that are under discussions like this, and then they'll put themselves in the city, and they'll write a prescription for anything. And he said after they passed it in his city, that the dispensary that went right beside him, he said now, again, the smell, it has affected, negatively impacted the people that come in his hotel. He said he wasn't necessarily for or against it, but he wanted us to know that, because he said it will happen here just as it happened in our city. And I can tell you after that, it actually did. I had 11 quote-unquote shot nurses who wanted to come into the city and get locations here. When we asked them what specifically they were doing, I said, is it health and wellness? Do you have a doctor on site? And they readily admitted it, that they were following the ordinance and that they were getting ahead of the game and trying to find a location. And we're asking if they initially had to be in the CM zone or could they go anywhere in the city. And I had to tell them at that point, they're shot nurses, they can go anywhere in the city. But, I mean, it was real. It was a valid insight that he provided us. So I shared that with the mayor and a couple of other ones, that it's not anything I would have ever thought about either. But
Well, and what that says, and when Whitney brought that to my attention, what that says to me, because we see this in other developments, that, you know, it's ironic that we were just talking about this morning in the department head meeting, that it's not a mystery that Southaven is the quality of city it is. We faced a lot of challenges over the decades with our massive growth, so there have been a lot of things that we've had to deal with. But the reason Southaven is a great city is because over the years, even before us, there were good decisions made. There were making a good city sometimes is not just saying yes, it's also being able to say no to things that are not good. So what I took from Whitney when she told me that is, let me just use this as an example. So like when you, let's use Covington Pike in Memphis. Well, what is Covington Pike known for in
car
Memphis?
dealerships.
Auto.
Yep.
So if it's not just auto sales, everything auto. If you got a dent in your car, there's going to be a dent doctor around the corner. There's going to be auto glass stores. There's going to be every like accessories to autos. So when you bring something to your city, you're bringing the accessories that come with it also. And so sometimes you got to think about the accessories that are even more negative than the exposure that you just approved. So
I just want to point out that my wife has a nonprofit organization that's in a building with multiple people, and one of those people happened to be a weed nurse. And it was a problem not only for her charity, but for the other businesses that were involved in there. They were very unsanitary. Let me just say it like that. They were very unsanitary and definitely not wanted by the other businesses.
People, the tenants.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a complaint with from the aldermen in Olive Branch too, that, because most of theirs are in strip centers, and they said the other tenants complain, and there's a couple of strip centers that may go empty because of that.
well, and I use the analogy in another discussion about kind of tied to what I'm talking about from an economic standpoint and what you say yes to and what you say no to. And this discussion has come up, is heavily discussed. In fact, it was before MDOT made the decision not to have an interchange at Nell Road and I-55. This was before me. Some of y'all will remember this. There was a heated discussion about a truck stop. Horn Lake wanted to put a truck stop at a Nell Road interchange, and Southaven did not want a truck stop there. So Southaven fought the interchange, and Horn Lake was for it. And it was all over a truck stop. And so I use that analogy, and I'll ask this question first. Are truck stops needed in our country? Absolutely. You got to have truck stops in the country. They serve a purpose, but they bring a lot of negatives with them too. It's a documented fact. So are we against truck stops in Southaven? No. Do we want a truck stop in Southaven? No. And so again, that's just an analogy. I would like everybody to think about that. You know, like I said in the beginning, if there's anything on the planet that can help people who are sick, I'm for that. However, we have a greater responsibility to be smart with our planning and what we allow in our city. And if patients can get the medicine already, why do we want to bring, it's like the truck stop. Why do we want to bring the truck stop to Southaven? No script, no problem. That is what will happen. If we allow it, it is going to be abused, and we've allowed one more step towards recreation.
It's going to be abused more than it already is.
Absolutely.
So it's going to create a bigger issue. John David, you want to say anything? Are you still there? Okay.
So what we would, to make it a formal vote, what has to be done first is you have to have an ordinance prepared, but what you have to know is, what are you considering? Are you considering an opt-in for dispensaries? Are you considering research testing or cultivation? So that's something, whatever, tonight, we're not prepared for an opt-in or opt-out, or to vote no. We need to know what's being proposed. I know Alderman Jerome, you shared some information, so would somebody talk to us, what is being proposed?
I think the thing we agreed on the first time around was just dispensaries.
So are you proposing that we opt in to dispensaries?
Yes,
Okay, throughout the city or in the medical zone?
only in the medical zone,
Okay, I'm just asking a question, like I
because
said.
that's why we set it up.
Well, I'm just telling you, before we can do anything, this is the process that we have to go through. I didn't make it, I've already told you, I don't like the way the state handled this. So that's the process. So, before we end this discussion tonight, anybody got anything else, beforehand? And then, I guess, if that's his proposal, and nobody changes that, what we would do is, Nick, we would create an ordinance for just that, and then the full board would vote either yes or no.
Yeah, I mean, I can draft an ordinance for review for everyone, let everybody look at the ordinance, see what your thoughts are, and, however y'all wanna handle it from there is fine with me. I just gotta draft, I can get something revised, drafted up.
How do we deal with changes that the legislature makes? Because they make changes every year.
Well, I think that, in that situation, I guess you would just, obviously state law is gonna trump any ordinance we have. So, I mean, our ordinance would just be the local regulation, not necessarily our ordinance doesn't necessarily deal with the quality and quantity of cannabis. It just deals with the time, place, and manner.
But again, I'm not speaking for you, but correct me if I'm not understanding your question. I think what you're asking is, if you do opt in, and then the legislature changes something, you're in. So you're at their mercy at that point. Whereas if you don't opt in, and something happens in the spring that you don't like, you can reevaluate that before. But once you opt in, you're in.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I mean, once you opt in, you can have an ordinance that it has local controls, but any state controls obviously will always trump anything to do local. Yes.
And since there's a new legislature convening in January, they could change the legislature again. And we may be opting into something we don't even know about yet, right?
So again, just to move this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't know you asking me.
That's a statement.
Yeah, so, just so we can move on down the road, so whatever the full board decides to do, just need to know tonight, Alderman Jerome is recommending an opt-in for dispensaries only in the medical zone. Okay, is there anyone that wants to recommend something that is a more extreme opt-in to research and testing or to cultivation, or is that what?
Can we limit the THC level?
I don't think we have any control over that. That's done by the Department of Health. We don't control the regulation. I mean, we don't regulate.
If we could, we'd be hitting the gas stations.
Yeah.
Well, they're selling it in gas stations.
I know.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Under the CM zone, Department of Revenue has restricted us from regulating controls and numbers and caps on other certain uses like liquor stores and things like that. Is this something that could expand outside of the CM zone?
Well, I think our zoning controls right now, I think our local zoning would control, but there are requirements in the legislation where, and I off the top of my head, it's been years to look at, I think it's 500, 1,500 feet, I can't remember from.
So it'd be restricted around the churches and schools like liquor stores, but
Yes.
they've stopped us from further restricting the liquor stores.
Same restrictions, there are restrictions of how close it can be to school, daycare, church, and that.
Okay.
I don't know if in the CM zone, I don't know if there are any of those in there anyway, I'm not sure.
So how far does it have to be from a church?
Right now, I think it's 500 feet from door to door.
500 feet.
It's 500 feet door to door. 1,000 feet door to door.
So-
I just want to make sure that there's no way it can expand outside. If we do the restrictions on CM zone, I just want to make sure there's no state statute or department that can
No,
lessen that restriction.
I guess you could always amend this, they could always amend.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to question that.
Can we
I
limit
think it's pretty safe to say, what the state legislature gave us was an option to opt in, but once you opt in, whatever
We're at their mercy.
yes, I mean, now, that's what, and
Within the
correct
zone.
me if I'm not understanding you, we have, the law allows us to set up the medical zone, but then again, to Alderman Flores' point, what if they come back and change the law, we're already in?
Yes, sir. I mean, we have time, place, the way, my understanding of looking at this in the past, we have time, place, manner, control restrictions like we would do with most entities. I created a medical zone, I'm not sure, a couple of years ago, whenever that was. So our local ordinance would govern all those issues, signs, time, place, manner, permits, that type thing, what would need to be reviewed by the board and passed. But to your point, if the legislature ever changed the law, I can't sit there and tell you that, oh, our local ordinance will always govern because, like I said, the state law is always going to trump local law.
And they even address that, and it's been a few years since I did study that at one time, but it even says in there, it even references the fact that that it can force the cities can't do certain things, like, and I can't remember all the word, but it was specifically some things. In other words, it's telling you that we are going to be we're going to control this law. Like,
Yeah,
the cities are not going to be able to stop.
On control of the substance and the regulation of the actual product.
Okay, that's
I think
it.
That's always going to be on the state level, which I don't think the cities will have the expertise, but I don't know how that's being done. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert.
Although they're not testing it.
Okay, yeah, I'm not. But that's supposed to be done by the state. We don't have the authority to do that. We just have the time, place, and manner, which I think other cities have adopted a somewhat all similar type ordinance, which I can use to kind of look and see how we want to do it from our perspective. But ours would obviously be in the CM zone as opposed to a certain, as opposed to others.
And I know we don't have legislators here, but why is there a restriction for linear footage from a church?
I think that's just because of the laws in Mississippi. Same thing with liquor stores. It's just.
But now this is not liquor. This is medicine.
Yeah,
So
I'll
why?
bring-
No, it's a fair question. Why, if it doesn't bring the negatives that we're talking about, why does it restrict it from churches? What if it's just medicine? Why you have a Walgreens next to a church? Why do you have 1,000 feet between these dispensaries and a church? What's the logic behind that? Does anybody know?
Well, there used to be like, remember, you couldn't sell certain things on Sunday. And maybe it goes all the way back to logic. I don't know. I'm
But why would you
speculating.
not sell medicine on Sunday?
Well, can they sell cannabis on Sunday, medical cannabis on Sunday? I'm sure they can. Can they? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
But why does it have to be 1,000 feet from a church?
Maybe it's because they have kids there at a church. You know, there's, I don't know.
Well,
You think
y'all
they
get
put
my
a daycare
point.
as
No, I get
There's
it.
obviously
Absolutely.
something negative.
There's something negative.
There's risks and concerns.
Correct.
By the state legislature is telling you that by their law.
Correct.
That they're restricting it away from churches.
That's right.
So the
Schools,
concerns that we're
churches.
expressing tonight are legitimate concerns that people in the state have also considered. That's
That's
my
correct.
point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wasn't this law, wasn't it drafted by Kevin Blackwell, Senator Blackwell?
It was.
I think he was a sponsor.
He was a sponsor.
Yeah, he may have drafted. I don't know all the ins and outs of who drafted what, but I know he was a sponsor. I think at one point, or was a sponsor. Yes.
But there's also, I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
Not me.
There's also rumors he is a silent owner in some dispensaries. So,
Nick, can we restrict the dispensaries to being a standalone building by themselves?
I don't see why. Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any issues why on that. I gotta look at legislation and see if there's any issues on that. But I think you have some local controls over it, or not think you have some local controls. It's just getting those into place. Or obviously, at the end of the day, the board's the one who adopts it, not me. But I mean, I can draft an ordinance up for review for the next. I don't know if y'all want to do it the next meeting or the next meeting. The next meeting's right for Thanksgiving. Or
31st of February would be good with me.
And so, anyway, but I can get something drafted up, 31st February, and let everybody review it and just see how y'all want to proceed with it. I mean, that's,
Well, ultimately, and again, it's my job to preside over the meeting. We have talked about this, and we've talked about it. And is anybody unclear where I stand? Anybody in the city watching it? Have I made it clear where I stand? And so, and again, I'll just say this. Every decision I've made, everything I've advocated for is I look at the overall picture of the city. What's best for the whole city? And so that's why I'm not in favor of opting in. However, y'all are the ones that vote, and we've talked about this. Has anybody got anything in the world left to say that we haven't said?
The only thing I'm gonna say is I polled my
I'd
people.
love to hear from you, Alderman Lewis.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess my thing is that, as everybody here knows, I have undergone some surgeries. And I picked up a bottle the other day, and it said, you know, it was for pain, obviously, you know, about warning opioid addiction. And it's like everything else that, you know, has come down the line. That is such a big deal now, the opioid addiction. So in my little pea brain mind, I'm thinking, is there something out there that can stand in its place so that you don't have that? And if there is, why would I vote against it? And that is just where I'm at with this. I'm kind of on the line, but I have to say I'm leaning more one way than I am the other, because I know that there are people, just having gone through what I've gone through the last few months, that are in pain every day. And if it helps them, why make them drive to Olive Branch or to Hernando or across the bridge? You know, we want to help our citizens, and we want to give them every right to everything that is available to them. And I want to keep Southaven the wonderful city that it is and has always been. I don't want it to become that place that we become known as, oh, we run to Southaven and get what we want. I want to keep it clean, but I want to do it in a manner that we need to vote and do it in.
Well said.
So
Yeah,
I
and-
polled some of my constituents, and 2 of them were users of medical marijuana, and they all said no. They said,
Yeah.
I can go get it somewhere else. I'm good with that. Leave it, don't put it here.
To be fair, you asked me how many people I talked to. I talked to one. The guy that I talked to admitted to me that he was a recreational user. So, I mean, that kind of throws that guy out, in my opinion, because he's a medical, he's not using it for medical purposes. He's using it for recreational purposes.
And the other thing, to Alderman Lewis's point, and that's, I get you, and that's why, I mean, I would never want to deprive medicine from anybody, but like again, there's things that are good, but are they good for us? And we're not the exact same as Olive Branch and Hernando and Horn Lake and the other cities. That's been proven. I can tell you that people that have reached out to me, I mean, I'm talking about people that say, you know, Mayor Musselwhite, and I mean, the strangest, most bizarre ways, rather than contact City Hall, where are you going to find a mayor, Christie? Likely at City Hall, right? Well, they went through all these channels. They wanted to get in my ear and talk about medical cannabis. And so the reason for that is Southaven has as high or higher economic demand as anybody else. So this would be, that's when we talk about the people that follow that. If we opt in, you're going to have people that want to follow that here because we have more consumer flow. We have the best economy here for that. So I don't know that opting in another city in Mississippi and Southaven that there's an equal comparable. So I do think that we have to consider some things differently because we are Southaven. But I agree with you about keeping people off opioids. I do believe, like I said, if there is anything on the planet that can help somebody with an infirmary, I think that they should be able to get it. But I just think this, again, if it's truly just medicine,
Pharmacy.
why does it have to be over 1,000 feet from a church? And nobody's answered that question for me, but because I know the answer why. Because there's negatives. This is different from normal medicine. It brings other things. So that's why I look at it differently. But I do appreciate your comments, and that's very well said. Anybody else want to add? I mean, let's hash it out. I mean, let's have the baby. I mean, we're at the hospital and we're having the labor pain, so let's go ahead and have that baby. Come on. Anybody else got anything to say?
Well, I'll just say, a good friend of mine and yours, former Alderman William Brooks. He has spoken very publicly before about, troubles because of his constant pain. He's had opioid issue. Not that he was addicted to opioids, but it definitely made a difference on his, on his physical health. And he had started using medical cannabis several years ago. I believe he was driving to Missouri. This was before Arkansas had opted in. And, he's very been public about it, about how it's totally changed his life. And I understand. He's talked to me about it. I've talked to him. I haven't discussed it with him lately, but I still don't believe he's buying it in Mississippi just because of the restrictions, and I don't know why. I want to have that discussion, and I'd like to talk to him about it again. But obviously, that is a gold standard case in my view of the benefits. Mm-hmm. Not saying that Southaven needs to be the one to opt into it, but we did do our due diligence. I'm glad we did to create the medical zone. I know there were reasons that we wanted to investigate on why not opting in as, when everyone else did. We wanted to create the zone, but we also kind of wanted to see how it was going to affect other cities that jumped right in. And I had this discussion with Alderman Flores a couple weeks ago. I couldn't tell you. He told me there were five or nine dispensaries
There's
in
been
Olive
11.
Branch.
There's been 11, but there's 9 now. There's 5 in Olive
I couldn't
Branch.
tell you where a dispensary was in Olive Branch.
They're thinking of opening a 6th one, and it's going to be right
I mean,
there
I
by
drive down Goodman Road quite a bit.
by
I don't
Academy.
drive through the city a whole lot, but 305 and Goodman Road,
There's 2 on Goodman Road
I couldn't tell you where it was.
because they're in strip centers. You don't see them.
Maybe, yeah.
And there's one on Mackinvale, just south of, right there before you get to Byhalia.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So
They don't. No, I've seen them in other cities. I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen at least one in Senatobia,
yeah,
and I've driven through Kosciuszko over the past several months. And I see them. I see them in other small cities in Mississippi. But I have not seen a single one in DeSoto County. I'm not that I'm out looking for them, but they become obvious in other cities. I haven't seen them in DeSoto.
well, I'm pretty sure the ones with medical marijuana cards, they know where they're at.
I'm sure they do.
They
I
should.
have a feeling.
So-
But my point that I was making before, and look, I really don't know where I've got some real soul searching to do, and some discussions I need to have with some people. But the point that I was trying to make earlier is true. I don't know that us not opting in or not opting in will change the fact that you can roll your window down at Goodman Road and Airways and just smell it everywhere, or in the parking lot at Kroger, or walking into a store at the Tanger Mall, or at Walmart, or anywhere. I mean, I hate it. It's terrible.
Well, maybe.
And I don't know. I don't know Southaven opting in with the zoning that we did, possibly putting in 2 stores because of the restrictions that are already there, plus the restrictions that we've made. I don't know that it will change things, but I could be wrong.
Other than the negative it would provide to the PD is one.
Well, that negative's already there. Like you said, they can go down to Hernando and get it. It's
Yeah.
the same people
Well-
that live in Southaven going down there. Is that
Mayor.
going to increase? Are we going to have increased card holders just because it's in Southaven?
I think
It's the same people.
I think
You
you-
said yourself they can go over
I think
Olive
your
Branch.
chief of police said that it would mire them in more mud.
Mayor, we do have someone in the audience that probably could maybe give some light to this tonight.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything that is there?
I do. There's one other option. How do we get this to be put on a special referendum? Let the citizens of the city talk. Why should these 7 make that decision?
I don't know. I think they kind of did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When was that?
Whenever the state overwhelmingly voted for it.
Okay, but that's not speaking for citizens of Southaven per se.
Well, last time I checked, and this was 3 years ago, when we went through this whole rigmarole of setting up a medical zone for the purpose of maybe future, opting in, every ward was, the majority was for it. I went back and looked at the numbers.
That's why you've gotten how many calls? And you've gotten how many calls? And I've gotten 0 calls. John David's gotten 0 calls. So it can't be that there's a majority. So my point is,
No,
are we going
that's
to be
fact.
against? Can we talk about putting this on a special referendum and letting the citizens
Oh,
decide?
I'm good with it. Let's do it.
How do we do that?
I think you just have to go through the there is a reverse referendum in the legislation where you get enough signatures and then you can do it that way.
That's our job.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a referendum. I think it would just be, I don't know if it would be a binding referendum, it'd just be a, kind of where people stand on, so it wouldn't necessarily be a binding referendum. I guess it would be, put the money involved in everything and all that.
So if it's not going to be a
I
standing
got a
referendum,
feeling after tonight's discussion, we're all gonna get calls and people are gonna tell us how they feel about it, because
I
it's,
got a feeling I'll get this many calls.
I think you might be surprised. I think we
No,
all,
I won't be.
I think people's gonna call us and tell us how they feel about it, one way or the other.
You know how many calls I got out of the last time we talked about this? 0. You wanna know why? Because they can get it somewhere else.
Well, I have to say, Raymond, you asked me how many calls that I've gotten, and I have gotten 0. But in out meeting and talking with people, I have had some feedback on that.
Okay,
So
so how many?
maybe 5,
Okay, 5. We're still at 100.
but I've only been in since July 1st, so.
And Alderman Payne, I did want to respond to one thing. Nobody's suggesting that whatever this board does, that you're not going to experience the things that you are. Like
I know.
this is not about, do we want marijuana in Southaven or not? That's not, we're not, y'all are not voting. I can assure you what you said is true, and it didn't start when you were first elected alderman or when I was elected mayor. There have been people that have been abusing marijuana for many, many years in Southaven. So this discussion is not about stopping somebody from rolling the window down and smoke coming out. Because, I mean, you know, you still can't, you know, you're not supposed to be driving impaired by marijuana
Well,
anyway.
I can tell you, you know, my wife works at the local school in Southaven High School, and it is an everyday THC vapes, and I can tell you 100% fact, ain't none of them coming from a dispensary.
Mm-hmm. Ain't no doubt. I don't doubt that. Drugs are a problem in our country. I think that's a bigger issue than we're all signed to solve.
So then it comes down, is it a good business for Southaven? That's the decision we're gonna make.
Well, and it's one of those things where, again, asking for final comments, but one way or the other, it's time, you know, everybody's stated their opinion, I think, so it's time to put it on an agenda and vote. And one day, we'll see who was right and who was wrong. I mean, or maybe it won't be a big deal. I mean, if this board decides to opt in, and the worries that I have prove to not be true, I'll be the first one to say, you know, this wasn't a big deal. But I'm never going to err on the side of not looking out for what's best for Southaven. And like I said, I have concerns about it. No one still told me how this is good for Southaven. I know it's good for people that have, I don't dispute that I agree with you. But no one has still told me why this is good for Southaven, opting in and why it is. So Alderman Jerome has suggested that we, because to get to the next step, we got to have an ordinance. So you're suggesting you would be for opting in for dispensaries in the medical zone only?
Yes.
Okay. And so what we will do then, unless y'all tell me differently, we will ask our city attorney to prepare an ordinance that does that. And unless y'all want to call it for a referendum, if y'all feel like that's needed, but we got to close the discussion tonight and move on. So y'all talk to me. Do y'all want to look into doing a referendum and let the people vote, or do you want to prepare an ordinance and all of you vote?
I say we prepare the ordinance.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we should have the expense of having a number of elections. We don't have to.
Okay. Well, then what we'll do is we'll wrap up the discussion, and then we'll do that, and then the board will vote. And then I think it's clear in the law that the Board of Aldermen has the authority to make a decision to opt in. So whatever the majority decides to do, we'll have that on an upcoming agenda, and we'll end the discussion. Anybody got anything else before I move on the mayor's report? Okay, thank y'all for the input, and we'll move on. The next thing, the other stuff's gonna be boring after that.
I know.
So, y'all know that in our capital improvement plan, because of the heavy traffic, with 269 and Mackinville and Sweeney Road is quickly becoming a much more heavily traveled north-south arterial road in Southaven. So we've had to do some things from a safety standpoint, specifically what we did at Sweeney and Church, but then also at Star Landing and Sweeney. There's some enhancements that need to be made there. It's been a very dangerous intersection because of the hill on the east side. And so we've had a project in place to lower the grade to improve visibility for that intersection and also put traffic signals up. Since then, we've been thinking more about this. I've talked to Dan Cordell with Civil Link, and we've explored the option of reducing maintenance in the city. And we talked about putting a roundabout there instead. We've been talking about roundabouts. This is not a new discussion. We've been talking about roundabouts for I don't know, 7, 8 years now. But we wanted to watch and see how this all happened. So I think there's enough of them in Mississippi now to know, and especially with, with the I-55 and Crump Boulevard in Memphis, how successful that is working. So I think we got a much better comfort level with roundabouts than we did 7 or 8 years ago. So my recommendation is that we put a roundabout there instead of the signals. It's going to cost us a little bit more money. It was projected to be about $800,000. Dan believes we can do it for about $1 million, so it's just $200,000 more. But it would decrease the maintenance costs over way more than pay for itself, because you don't have the light sensors going out. There's really no maintenance to a roundabout, so it's just tremendously easier and less costly for a city to have a roundabout there. So not asking for a vote tonight, but just if anybody opposes that, please speak up. If not, this will come back before you, as it's designed and for your final approval.
I was this close to calling you and suggesting that we do that.
That would be the best. There's already one on Mackinville anyway. So
In Hernando?
In Hernando.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay, we can't follow that design. That design is awful. But yeah, I love the roundabouts. There's one also on 51 where Conger Park is. That one works to a charm.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It does.
But I will, and again, I'm just telling you this, we have purposely been deliberate about it because
Yeah.
we didn't, and we have higher traffic flows than a lot of these places where the others are. So I'm not even going to tell them, Whitney, where we talked about putting one, and let's just let that be a forever secret, okay? Because it would not have been a good decision, but we believe this one will be a good one. And so does anyone have any concerns about that? Or as far as the money, we got some pluses and minuses with our capital improvement plan. Some things are coming in higher, some things are coming in less. So $200,000 does not create budget issues for us. So just wanted mainly to brief everybody about that and open up the floor if anybody has any objections to that. Okay. And then with that being said, there is also some discussion about furthering roundabouts on the state line. As we watch some of these others be successfully implemented, one of the great things about roundabouts is it makes you slow down. Like, one of the most dangerous things about intersections is you have vehicles going in opposite directions. We all know that T-bone crashes are usually fatalities. And so when you have a roundabout, you slow the drivers down. And so it improves the safety. Whichever way you're going, you're slowing the traffic down, so it's proven to be a safer thing. With slowing traffic down, it also improves what we believe to be a better benefit, and our Public Works Director was the one, Robert Booth is the one that discussed this in another meeting, brought this up, and it's a great idea. It's no doubt or no secret that we have trouble with crimes that flee back across out of our northern border. And so we think that adding roundabouts to the northern border at all heavy traffic volume arterial roads could also have a law enforcement benefit. It could slow people down. It could allow us to, use our current techniques in a more safe manner, to stop people who are trying to flee from us. And so the update tonight is we've started having that design just to kind of get some ideas what kind of money we're talking about. And I've got a little bit of that information, but it looks like it's something that could be financially feasible. We're not there yet. We're not through with that analysis, but I just wanted y'all to know that I do think it's encouraging. I think it's something that we can do. And so we'll keep, again, we're studying it, and when we get more information, I'll come back to you with another update about that. But we are gonna win. We're gonna win the fight with crime in this city. I don't care who you are, where you're coming from. I'm just telling you, we're gonna win, and we're gonna keep thinking of ways to win. And if we can put roundabouts on all the roads and slow your butt down, you're gonna slow down when you come in the city and when you're trying to leave. So we are gonna win. I think this is a strategic, another arrow in our quiver that we can win that fight.
Mayor, one thing I've seen some of those, the ones that have the planters in the middle of them, like with, it gives, they can't just go straight through it and cut across.
Right.
It's got something there to.
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna build anything in this city that's not beautiful too. It's gonna have that in the middle, and it's gonna be, it would be beautiful in the middle. So it would serve two purposes. that, but it would also be landscaped and be a, a great message to people that are coming in our city, again, the pride in our city. And again, like we talk about, when you come into the city, you're going to know that, wow, you're in a place where people care, and with everything, not just the
I think
aesthetics.
on Mill Branch, a good thing we might want to do there is, with ours there, we can maybe even have like a bit of a median on each side of it coming in, like on Mill Branch, to kind of funnel them into the one lane and kind of decorate it up coming in, make it,
Well, that's actually where the discussion started, because Mill Branch is one of those roads that's in the, kind of in the city, in the center of our business district and traffic flows that people, criminals do try to flee there. So we would not put that one at State Line of Mill Branch. We would put that
at the state line.
at the state line. So there's no other road. You have to go through the roundabout. There's no other road. You see what I'm saying? Because we have, as you know, we have some other side streets north of state line that could be used as an escape route. So if we do one there, we would shut that off. We would make it a barrier. We would make it a barrier where there's only one way to go, and that's around it. So anyway, I'm encouraged by it. I think it'll be really good. I'm actually very excited about it. And so let me do some more homework on it, and engineers are working on it, but I'm going to do some financial homework on it too, how we get there financially, and I'll report back to all y'all about that. Another good thing in our city this week is Thursday, South Point Grocery is going to be open. So at 10 a.m. you can be shopping at South Point Grocery. The board knows, public, we have been trying to recruit other grocers in this city for many years, and others are going to come. But right now, and nothing against the ones we have some great options for groceries, but this South Point Grocery is something special. It's more of a smaller type grocery store. When you walk in, and there's one in Memphis, I went in just to check it out. When you walk in, it's just something about the feel of it. It feels like your grandma's country store. It's just got a different feel to it, and it's amazing to me how they have the same, everything you want is there, but it's all smaller, it's laid out differently, it has a smell of, again, grandma cooking in the kitchen. It's just really special. So it's going to be a real good addition for our city.
Great deli.
Yeah, all kind,
Great
just
deli.
everything you can think of. You're like,
Are you
well, do they
speaking
have,
from
surely they don't
experience,
have this here, but they do.
Once or twice.
Yeah. So anyway, that is going to be, we're going to have the ribbon cutting and grand opening of South Point Grocery on Thursday morning. That's all I have on the mayor's report. Personnel docket is next on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this day.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Nothing else. We'll move on to our utilities billing leak adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion?
No, but I will say, too bad John Davis not here. He'd be excited. It's only half a page.
Yeah.
It is usually much longer.
It's usually 2 pages.
You like that, Alderman Wheeler? Okay, any other discussion on this docket? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda are 2 claims dockets. Is there a motion to approve docket 1?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $4,544,109.64, including demand checks.
Second.
On docket 1, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $21,077.54.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion?
I would like to make it, something about this. My wife works for Cigna. She's one of like 10,000 employees. Cigna no longer owns this life insurance company anymore. So I don't have to recuse myself anymore.
I was like, what are you doing here?
Can I do this now?
I'm like,
So-
what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So we don't have to special docket anymore.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on docket 2? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Lewis.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries on docket 2. Next on our agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Hoots. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The needs this evening are security plans and devices, economic development within the city, interdepartmental personnel with no action, fire personnel, public works personnel, and claims against the city regarding utilities. Is there now a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Got a motion by Alderman Jerome, second by Alderman Gallagher. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.